just 1 second. Okay, I'll repeat myself. So this is Sulbi. I am the founder of the Dream Catchers. We are an education consulting firm, and we are based out of Mumbai, India. And we have been serving students pan India as well as in the Middle East. Our mission is quite straightforward, which is that we truly want to assist students in realizing their dream of obtaining quality and best fit education. Now, there are various ways through which we help the student community in terms of finding the quality and best fit education, starting from grade 8th onwards, because that's when there is a need to really start choosing the right subject combinations or right streams. With the international boards here in India, like IB, like Cambridge, and even to a larger extent now the national boards with their national education policy as such, we have lot of options, or students these days have lot of options. So then it becomes many a times a problem of plenty as well. So we try to do the hand holding there and provide guidance so that they can choose the right subject and stream combinations for themselves. Of course, there are various tools and methods through which we do that. One is psychometric assessment, which is more of a scientific tool through which we get to know a student's, aptitude, their foundational personality traits, and to a larger extent, their work interest area. Okay, but it's not that we are running psychometric assessment for each and every student. It's really on case to case basis. But at this point of time, those of you who are not familiar with it, I would urge you to read more about it, because if it is done in the right environment and the right way, it can act as a great starting point to really help you, understand what subjects or what streams might make the most, or rather it's most suitable for you. Okay. Again, we, through our like personalized and individualized guidance sessions, we get into a detailed career discovery and career exploration. And wherever there is a need, we sit with the student to create a detailed action plan, walking them through different career pathways and varied educational pathways to reach that same career track. We also provide, admission guidance or higher education admission guidance, both for undergrad and postgrad space. And of course, there are a lot of things which are required to be done by an aspirant, especially if you are looking for, studying abroad or even new age universities in India, where the selection process is beyond, your 12th or undergrad GPAs. It's more around your profile as such, right? So there are a lot of things which are done to elevate your profile naturally or organically, keeping your strengths in mind, keeping what you want to do, in career, in life, keeping all that aspects in mind. So again, if you think of, or if you're thinking of studying abroad, there are multiple options. So what makes most sense to you in terms of study, wherein a lot of factors are taken into account, plus different flavors of courses which are available. So again, we sit with the aspirant, we kind of deliberate on different options, and then we kind of create different course options they can look into in terms of applying. When it comes to college, I know what is really, really freely available on the internet is the rankings, right? But there is a lot which goes into college rankings, and certain factors might not be something which is really applicable to a student or from their perspective as such. So we really get into the best fit college mapping, not only restricting the Ivy Leagues or just like cream de la cream colleges, because it's important for the student to find the best fit for themselves, which may or may not be an Ivy League as such. Again, the process involves answering a lot of essay prompts and even personal statements. So that's where we help the student in terms of putting their best foot forward. Again, we do not write it for them, but we help them really create their own story and narrative in the most authentic and compelling way. There are other aspects as well, which is kind of involved in the undergrad and more so in the postgrad, space, which is the interview process. And these days in India, depending upon the course as well, Some of you may know that there are mini presentations, or interviews as well. So again, we are there to help you with mock interviews so that you present your most confident self and most informed self during that discussion as such. Wherever you're looking to apply to an international destination, visa is a very important element, and we do provide visa guidance in terms of even drafting the visa SOP. And we have collaborated with visa experts who can help you with filing the visa, and so that your chances of rejections are minimal. I think this will give all of you a good perspective around our firm. And now let me get into the cream of the session today, wherein I would want to start with a warm up quiz. And I didn't check, but I hope all of you can see my screen, wherein okay, great. I can see Subeer nodding. Okay, so this is a question for all of the participants here. Given you have joined this webinar and you're interested in the field of artificial intelligence and data governance, I just wanted to understand from you, what do you know about this field? And I think this is just kind of an icebreaker. Please do not Google or do not use Chat GPT. If you know it, great. Just put it in the chat or Q&A box. And maybe Subeer, you can also kind of take a stab at it. It would be good to see the awareness, especially of the students and parents who have joined us today. Okay, I've started to receive a few responses. Okay, I'll keep the screen on for like maybe another 5 seconds or so. Okay, so I would say 70% said 1956, which is right. Some of you said 2022. I think that's because, artificial intelligence started becoming a household name with the official launch of ChatGPT, but actually it is 1956. Okay, moving on. Again, this is no news that artificial intelligence or the jobs around that is something which is the future, but I wanted to bring some statistics in front of you and even some studies as well. So this is something which is from World Economic Forum, wherein the survey was done across multiple organizations spreading across different industries, where it was asked from the executives, hiring team, including hiring managers and HR, what are different jobs, right, which they see as upcoming in the 5 to 6 years time frame as such. So as you can see, definitely there are a lot of fastest growing jobs, and there are declining as well. But I just wanted to grab your attention to number 3, which is AI and machine learning specialist. It's one of the fastest growing jobs. And if we see and focus on the fastest growing skills, number 1 is AI and big data. Okay, so this is something which is coming from an authentic source after a lot of study and time has been invested into it. Next, I wanted to really focus on the AI job roles. And of course, there are a lot of core technical job roles which maybe some of the students are aware already, and it also includes some of the upcoming ones as well. But again, I wanted to draw your attention to these two, which is AI risk and governance specialist and AI ethicist. And definitely with today's session, because we have an AI and data governance practitioner with good experience, I think we'll try to cover that space in greater detail, and through our interaction we'll try to demystify that entire career track. So without further ado, I am really excited to formally welcome Subeer, who is heading the AI and data governance practice at fractal.ai. So welcome, Subeer. Thank you so much for taking out time today.
Thank you, Subeer, and it's pleasure. And thank you for having me. You know, I've been thinking around that how I can give it back to society, and this becomes a kind of a bridge for me to help some of the aspirants, some of the people I can relate to it because my elder one is in class sixth, and he'll be in next 2 years looking and will be having these questions what people on the call or parents would have at this moment. So I think this gives me an opportunity to pass it on and learn from each of you to how and what are the thought process that goes in everybody's mind at this stage, and what are they thinking about, and how I can help.
Truly appreciate your thought as well in terms of giving back to the student community, and I am very excited really to host you, because this is a space which I hear often, but this is something where there is lot of lack of awareness as well. So through these fireside chat questions, I think we will be able to uncover a lot, Subir. Okay,
So
maybe we can start with your introduction itself. If you can help us tell more about you, your role at Fractal, and even Fractal as an organization, that would be really helpful for our audience, and then we can proceed from there.
sure, thank you. Let me take you a few years, or maybe how I certain leadership aspects that I bring in and where I bring in. It all started at home. My parents were educators and now retired. When I used to see them, they used to bring back some of the things preparation at home after their working hours, and that was not that somebody told them, but it was voluntary because they want to make sure that they are giving best to their students who are there at the college and the schools. And the two things that I learned from them: one, that your success is measured by how much you give to society and let them grow, how many leaders you make. And the second is
Mm-hmm.
that you have to go beyond your comfort zone. So those were the two things that I brought in, and then that's what basis of my leadership skills have been going on. And then as per my career, I started with Wipro. Then back in, I was in Teradata for a smaller stint, and then I was in Infosys for almost 12 years, and then Fractal back in 2022. And before Fractal, I was heading a team of 150 odd folks doing data governance and data management stuff. What excited me to move to Fractal was I wanted to challenge my status quo. 150 odd
Okay.
folks reporting into me. I was in a comfort zone. I was loving what I was supposed to do, traveling across the world and doing certain things and talking to clients. But I wanted to change the status quo because I was hearing this AI and Fractal becoming that platform of how I can enable from scratch and challenge myself in this AI world and change this data governance and AI governance for the future. So that's where I landed into Fractal, and rest is history. I am part of this organization heading data and AI governance for the global organizations and the internal as well. AI organization. So we start internally and then spread it across to the global organization across industries.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that, Subir. And then let's move on in terms of decoding this entire artificial intelligence and data governance space. If you can help the students here understand what exactly it is, and what is really done on day-to-day basis, and how is it different from, say, data science or machine learning, or different or related, whatsoever is the case.
I'll not take a typical definition because I understand, and that's what how I have understood. I'll take an analogy.
Okay.
Analogies may consider water coming to your houses, and when the water comes in, it comes through pipeline, and it pipelines, and then you have taps, right? And those taps is what you turn on, your water flows, and you have filters around it so that no hard water or the particles should flow out, and you have a clean water to wash your hands or face or whatever. Now consider that as your data ecosystem. When the data is flowing through these pipelines, that is data flow. And the data flowing in and being utilized by business users, by decision makers, by organization to take decisions, they want to ensure that they get a clean data to work on. And data governance becomes a tap of ensuring that you are getting the data in the right form. And that you apply to AI world as well. Now, AI is all about you want to use AI. right now we all are using on pocket GPTs, all everything that in our hand. But who ensures that you are using in a right form? You're not hallucinating, or the decision that you're making are not hallucinated. It is based on the right information that you're getting. All that is again comes as part of a guardrail. In a simple English word, it's a guardrail on data and AI practices, which helps you take right decision to take your organization to the next level, so that your reputation and your decision making is at par.
Got it. I think that was an excellent way to make everyone understand. So thank you for a very simple or simplistic way so that it's relatable to the students. Subir, majority of the students who registered for our webinar, they are from grade 9th, grade 10th, 12th and 11th, but there are a few students who are pursuing their undergrad as well. Okay, so I just want you to keep that in mind, because obviously we opened the webinar to the entire student community, and few of the undergrad folks also registered. So with that, I just want to move to my next question, which is around, of course you are leading the team right now, but if you have to give a perspective to these young students who would be entering the workforce in next 3 to 5 years, what is an entry level role for an artificial intelligence and data governance person?
Um, See, I give you an example of recent interviews that I was taking for a B school, and
Okay.
and people could interrelate of how the future and what could be asked when they are appearing for a similar task. It's very simple. When I am looking at, I'm expecting them to bring their skills on me and start working on day one. I have to train them, I have to mentally, but I'm looking at a mindset. And that mindset is typically of how do you analyze your decisions? Are you making the decisions in your life based on some data? And that could be very simple. If I am shopping for something, am I supposed to just go and get that information, or am I supposed to compare the price, the fluctuation of how it went in February versus how it is going in October? How I'm supposed to take a decision based on cost effectiveness? What would be good for me based on whether it is right or not if I consume it, right? All those are available online, but are you putting that effort of analyzing those small things before you take that decision? And that's what I say, data mindset, right? I mean, even of a small thing in your personal life that you do, are you backing it up with, say you're investing on something, right? Or if you want to, I'm investing on something, am I just directly going by the word of mouth and invest, or am I doing my research and backing it out by this is it was and this what, that's why I'm going for it. These are my pros and these are my cons. Pros are heavy over cons, so I'm taking this decision. So that's a mindset. And if that becomes part and parcel of your decision making, part and parcel of your communication, the important part is communication. What goes in your mind, I cannot understand, or somebody cannot understand. If you're able to
Mhm.
articulate your thoughts, that why you are doing it, what it leads to, and how it will impact your decision, positive or not so positive way. If you are able to stitch those dots and why you took this decision, you are in for a job, right? So it's a small thing, but that for anybody who's undergrad or doing some student or something, they have to build this as a practice. And I would say, had I been at this position, and it's my kid as well, I keep on saying, just go for some kind of you know where you're supposed to speak your thought, where you're supposed to tell what you're thinking, right way, wrong way, not get into that part, but whatever you're thinking, you're able to articulate and backed up by why part. And I think that is a base of going for such roles, is what I can say, very simple way.
Understood. Great. Let me move on to like rather a technical question, in the sense around what kind of educational background is typically required to make a career in this field. And from your standpoint, are there any specific subjects or degrees which you would recommend for students who are interested in this field? And the third part is, uh, how important is having a background in coding or mathematics, and what level of proficiency is needed if that's an important background to have?
Okay, let me take the first question. Education background, right? I was listening to the news yesterday. CBSE has turned on its tap on class three, or I think class eighth onwards or something. They will make, or three onwards or something. They will make AI as compulsory subject to be known to, which is a good welcome move. Um, Now coming to what do we need from education perspective, I think computer science, data, it becomes natural with if you're learning about computer, you tend to think about and learn about data, right? That is come naturally. And if you have statistics, so in this field, for getting into what I'm doing today, there is no boundary access that you have to have. There,
Okay.
people from legal perspective, people from ethics, privacy, or somebody who is good at coding, data science, information system, all are welcome. Because at the end of the day, if I have to put myself into job profile, I'm supposed to talk to legal, I'm supposed to talk to business, I'm supposed to talk to the information technology officer, and I have to understand what are their needs to, so that I understand what are they doing versus I'm supposed to tell them as a solution. So at the end of the
Mhm.
day, what is the important aspect is articulation, communication, and your skills on the ground, which could come from data. Data can be learned from computer science, statistics, legal, anything, everything. It should, you find a path and it should come naturally to you. And now, I encourage generally to have people going for some extracurricular activities for this, right? Be part of some kind of data clubs where people talk about it, or maybe case study competitions where now responsible AI being talked about, right? I was talking about somebody whom I was interviewing, that do you understand the differentiation between ethics and responsibility in English terms?
Mhm.
And what would it mean for you? Forget about AI, right? You should be able to differentiate what is ethics, what is responsible, and what is the term governance in a literal dictionary
Mhm.
word means. Once you're able to
Mhm.
articulate your thought, then you can term it with data and AI, and you could understand in a larger picture why it is being used next to them, right? And I think that's why I was giving an example of Apple commercial which comes in. It gives you an
Mhm.
example of why privacy is important, why Apple is so important that it keeps your privacy intact, it doesn't let anybody see in your phone and all that, right? So that is what we do day in day out, but through the data part. But they are telling it a very simple way of what is privacy and what is that supposed to do with the data, right? All those are like kind of in those questions. If you that interests you, you should be looking at digital right groups, some projects where how does bias happen, what is responsibility, and how it is tied to AI. The term you used, ethicist, it is very fancy, but
Yeah.
what is it doing?
Mhm.
Simple Google search today will tell you what it means. It's a very fancy term, but who gets into that? You would
Mhm.
need to have that mindset for a large organization. Being an ethicist, what is right versus what is not? What is morally right and what is morally not in this AI world makes you think in that way that you are termed as ethicist. Right? It's a very simple thing of understanding, but those are things that people can do and students can look at to have that right mindset.
Understood. And I think in your response itself, you have kind of given me a good segue to ask one other question, which you touched upon, but I think we can delve deeper into it. So, if we say that someone is from non-science background, right? Uh, what kind of job roles are open to, say, students coming from humanities? Or even arts and design, and they want to be in the artificial intelligence and data governance space.
Good question. As I said, right, this field is open for humanities, legal, people from data, statistics, maths, anything of the look they want to take it as a their primary. So the typical career path in this area looks like when you enter into undergrad. Again, the important part is data aspect, right? And that data
Mm-hmm.
could be from phone, how much data did I use today versus yesterday, right? That is all habit. And then you start build as a habit, then become part of it. So entry level is more of if somebody if I pick up somebody, he'll be able to articulate his thoughts on and learn a little bit on what the subject is. So he would be termed as a data governance consultant. um, Whereas you try to understand how the data is coming in, what are the data quality parameters that you're looking at. So how good is data, if I have to term and not use the jargons because I understand the audience may not. How good the data is it being used by the person who was supposed to use or somebody else? Is privacy being handled from the data perspective? Are we exposing any personal information? It could be phone number, it could be email. If the data is exposing, can we flag it out? So all that checks of understanding the data in hand versus what you are getting, and how would you correct it if in case the quality is not met? What would you do? Is the data is leaking out personal information? What would you do? That's the entry level. They should be able to visually see that this is what I am looking at. These are the discrepancies, and this is what we need to put as a solution. That's
Mm-hmm.
what the mindset entry level. As you go on, then becomes more like risk aspects of thing, right? You like to know what are the risks. You know what are the risks. Now you call it out as a risk. You are able to put the processes around it. You're able to flag it out for the business and just make them understand these are the risks. So you become more of a lead kind of role where you not only teach the juniors but also tell business how this is done and what are the processes, how people should take it, what are the technology aspects of things to solutionize particular challenge, and what could be the legal and the previous and the regulatory part of the things. We see EU AI Act, DPDPA, so many regulatory parts of the things coming in. How those are tagged to what we are looking at, and how we can help you out with the solution. So right now I have clubbed in a nutshell two subjects: data part and an AI governance with the regulatory part, right? So these are the two things as you grow on in your career stream. Then you look at next level could be a CDO, chief data officer, or a head of data AI, or a chief analytics officer, or ethicist, as you said, right? Based on where and what subject you pick in most, you can move in those direction in your leadership journey.
Understood. Subeer, I have received one question already, and maybe before I move on to next one from my list, I will take Tanmay's question. He's saying that I'm a BTech student, computer science. Which industries or companies I should target to build my career in data governance?
Again, let me correct you. It's not the organ. I mean, if, which companies should I target was the question, right?
Companies and industry. And Tanmay, if you want to go live, I can really
That would be
unmute
help.
you. Yeah, please let me. Okay, I'm in a crowded place. Okay,
Which is
so maybe. Okay.
I'll take it up.
Mm.
So, which industries is a question because right now data governance and AI governance is a horizontal. So it cuts across different industries. If you want to look at CPG, commercial packaging, and retail, it does. We are there. We help because data is there. Finance and insurance, we are there because data is there. Health and life sciences, we are there because data is existing and will be existing there as well. And so is AI. So you can think from it cuts across industry, be it CPG, retail, finance, health, anything that you can think of, telecom, media, entertainment. It cuts across because everybody is talking about data and AI. So AI is sitting on data. Before without data, AI doesn't exist. Now, as a BTech, again, my perspective, if you ask me personally, it depends on how good you were able to communicate in your BTech. Were you actually going for the presentation that you're supposed to do, or you were just doing it for the sake of doing that presentation of marks? That's the key for me, right? And to be honest, I've gone through that journey. I've done my BTech and I have done my MBA as well. I've seen that change, right? That change is in BTech. I was doing the projects, and I was doing the presentation for the sake of presentations, but that does not help. What helps is you are, even if it's a one paragraph, are you able to speak about 30 minutes why, what, and how part? And if you're able to do that, I think you are already ready for doing the job, provided you have a data mindset, provided you are able to articulate your thought. Because believe me, this is if I tell you a lie that you're ready, it would be a lie. The reason is that this job profile needs to talk to business stakeholder on a daily basis. And if you're not
Mhm.
able to articulate your thoughts, your minds, your technology that you're working, how it is helping you versus what to client who has given you the work, you may falter or you may not do the job that you're supposed to do. So I think that's why people, process, technology, regulatory. If you tie that framework, you should be able to tell people you are the right person to do it. In to the client, this is the right person who should be doing it. Process, you should tell that if you take data from here, you tie it there, and this is the result you're looking at. You should be able to put the process on paper and articulate this is what I mean by putting this. Technology, you cannot shy away. Technology is where the people and the clients will see how and what you have put on paper. And rest is the regulatory and AI part, which they will expect you to tell them if they go for AI path, how they will be helped on AI. So you tell them how it will AI will help them in their journey as well. So I know it's a long
Understood.
answer, but I hope the crux was you should be able to articulate what you have done. And if you are good at that, you are ready.
Okay, so Subir, you must be seeing me smiling because I received an interesting question from this participant, Samay, who is saying, I am an introvert, so should I not consider this career at all? What do you have to say to that?
No, I was an introvert, um, and I could relate to what you think through. Again, there are certain practices that you have to bring. Introverts are also a good leaders. We have seen people and known faces to us who have been a great leader. Doesn't stop you, I would say. It's just that you have to blend in a way for your existence. You cannot be an introvert and sit in a silos and do coding and move away home. If you want this stream to be your career, whatever you coded or whatever you put on your paper, on your laptop or your screen, somebody asks you, can you give me a 30-minute or 15-minute of what you've done, kind of
Mm-hmm.
present me? That could be internal leader to you or a lead to you. You should be able to do that. That's defending your work and articulating your thoughts. There is no rocket science there. And in today's world, if you're not able to, then probably you have to find a way to do it. And that could be that I said, I'd start joining the clubs where people talk, present their thoughts, pick up a topic and talk about it. There are many such forums, and if you could start doing that, listening, talking little bit starts from somewhere, that would be a help. And that could be any career for that matter in today's world, as I can think of.
True. So I hope, Samay, this was helpful. Uh, I will move on to my next question, Subir, but I think you have touched upon it a little bit, but maybe again, if we can really, go to a level where it is clear to the students here, which is like opportunities of career advancement. So, where do they start in terms of entry level, and where can they look in terms of aspirations, in terms of career advancement in this entire track itself?
Good question. I think I did mention that. So typically, if you are a B.Tech or done some BScs where there is a data involvement, science involvement, the mindset becomes more prevalent when you are onto a job. That's your entry point, right? So, and then I'm sure that these days, even the MBAs, schools, good schools are offering the data science and data analytics and AI as their subjects, be it be any stream. So it's your choice. Ultimately, if I look at the success ratio, I've seen the combination of BTech and MBA as flourishing in this area. And that's not a restriction. Again, people from, again, I'm not tagging it, but that's an observation. People from cities like Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, more metro cities, not tier two. Now tier twos are coming up, but they are able, even though they are not BTechs and BScs, but they are able to articulate their thoughts well compared to the tier two and tier threes. The reason is they are into an environment where they are talking, they are expressing, and that could be very small. Of even, you hire an auto rickshaw, you're able to talk that much and say that no, you negotiate. Those negotiation skills, right, start from the ground, and that's a city environment which helps you. So as I said, liking of industry is having some technology background and MBA, because that gives you a base of putting your mind to a use case and articulating your thoughts, is the best on the book combination, but there could be others as well. The entry point, as I said, is where right from day one, you're looking at how to solve data specific problems from quality, privacy, some kind of data aspects of the things, ethics, AI, looking at the model and telling what is bias versus hallucination, looking at the data and so forth. That's the entry level. As you move along 2 years, 3 years down, the mid level is more of risk analyst, where the
Okay.
regulatory part of the things, where DPDP in India, EU AI Act in Europe, NIST AI framework in US, and many other countries launching, you should be able to know what are the things, are these benchmarks, and what is your data look like from them, so that you save your organization that you're working with and the clients of reputation risk and loss list risk, or name risk, and all that stuff. As you move on the leadership aspects, you would be able to not only mentor the juniors, but tell and lead the conversations and be face to the client of how your experience have helped in different areas of different organization, and now how you can help them in today's area. So it's outside in. Important part is you should be aware of what is happening in this world. um,
Mhm.
I am able to see, for example, I got to know, and it's a sad news that in US few months back, a teenager lost his life because he was using ChatGPT, and ChatGPT recommended on the suicidal aspects of things. That's a concern, but you should be able to articulate and see how that concern can be removed, and how and what guardrails you need to put in your ecosystem so that those incidents can be avoided. So that's the out of the box thinking, right? If I am able to learn from that, put it into a white paper, a solution, and put it across to my client that how this can be avoided, that's the best solution. And if that's, again, it comes from awareness, what is happening, reading, habit of understanding what is changing, how it will impact 6 months, 8 months down the line to the ways of working and so forth. If you go up, then you're looking at chief data officers who are responsible to ensure the data is correct, the chief data and analytics officer, AI officers, who are ensuring the ecosystem of legal, legal data, AI, all those are together stitched. Any use case which comes in, council is sitting of making sure how risk that use case is for our organization, how to pass it or not to pass it. So that is the leadership level, and then breadth goes across data domains, different life cycles, and so forth. So if I just gave you a small three-step hierarchy based on, say, 0 to 20 years, 22 years of a career, how does it look like?
Very helpful. And I have received another question from a student, I believe student only and not parent. So Anaya Shah, she's asking, data governance roles must have existed since a long time on account of computers and the internet. How does AI change these roles? Nice question. Okay.
Interesting question. Thank you. Data governance existed, and I am into this field for almost 15 years. It existed as part of your data entry. Um, big before big data. Everybody is aware of that big data boom which came in 2000, I think, 10, 11, 12-ish kind of time, where people were data warehouses, limited data, limited outcome, They were securing the data because everything was pricey. You have to ensure that whatever you take in, you're cost effective. Whatever you're putting out for your consumption, it's cost effective. So whatever was done in a very small way, people were not thinking because they were in control of the things. The next era came of big data. When everything became easy, you can have huge amount of data, and then people thought that why should we limit ourselves when insights can be driven from a larger piece? Why to limit yourself? So organization went ahead and started thinking of big data, having more data coming in. We were talking about trillions, the trillions of data fields and all that stuff. Then came a existence of, okay, let's have not have data warehouses, but can have data marts so that people can focus on their own stuff and insight can be driven from them. Again, it
Mm.
was not boom boom, but it was more again siloed. So they were existing roles, but they were more data analysts, business analysts who were limiting
Mhm.
themselves to specific data sets. Then
Okay.
after 2 3 years, it came an option which was cloud driven, which again changed the world. So everybody wanted to be cloud driven. Cloud was end to anything that you can think of space. You can go anywhere you want. Let the data come in, let it be stored, not stored, but you will get insights. There is when people started think that they will lose control in case they don't have those guardrails up. That's where these
Okay.
terms of governing data popped in.
Mhm.
This is
Okay.
15 or 12 years back when the roles like data governance and not role, I would say, a subject like data governance popped in, where again it
Okay.
was policing. When I say policing, there was a team of 4 or 5 senior people who were trying to see this is what you can do, this is what policy says, this is what you cannot do, and were telling
Mm.
that what is right data to keep and what it can not be kept in the ecosystem. And things evolved. Then the roles evolved. There is a role called data stewardship and now AI stewards, which have come in, who would be a liaison between business and data team. The way working up changed, where it is no more policing, it is autonomy to the different global
Mm.
teams. Do what you want to do, but there is an adherence to organization ways of doing things. Please start doing it that way. Let the best practices be prevailed and so forth. And now when AI came in, that cloud thing came down and AI came in because now there is no scareness of volume part, right? You can intelligence and all efficiency became more because cost is becoming more. And that's where this has evolved into more AI governance, where you can have things, but there has to be control. The things cannot go beyond your control, human in the loop. So all that things have evolved, so is data governance. So if you see the aspects is tomorrow, if I'm audited for my AI work that I'm doing in an organization, I should be able to tell an auditor this application of mine, which is using AI, is giving an output of X. If it is giving X, it can be trailed back to ABC, where it originated. And the auditor will be able to see that aspects of join between X and A only when you're doing that data governance in your ecosystem. And that's the aspect of metadata lineage. It's too high, heavy word. I don't want to use it here, but that's where the dots will be connected and auditor will give you a tick only when you will have a control of your data. Otherwise, your AI systems and AI things, if audited, can come go red and you will lose money because of penalties, and there will be a reputation risk on your organization and your share market will come down, right? So that's how the importance of data governance and the AI and artificial intelligence have gone in very fast. And the another thing is regulation. Regulations are bringing in the penalties, regulations are bringing in the reputation. People want to be safe, people want to ensure they have control of the things. So I hope I have given you a long answer, but this helps you.
I'm sure, Anaya, and if you have a follow-up question, let me know. Again, I will be happy to put you on the screen itself. I have like one more question, but Sangeeta, this will actually be covered in one of my follow-up questions itself. Okay, so let me continue with one of the most common questions which I generally get from students whenever we talk about different career tracks. which is like two sides of the coin, which is rewards and challenges. So let's first focus on the rewards of this profession. I would say from both aspects, monetary as well as non-monetary. If you can shed some light on it, if you can give some indication of the remuneration one can expect, and as I said, even the non-monetary rewards aspect.
Sure. See, rewards is first and foremost is you are enabling responsible innovation. Innovation is something that everybody is going after. AI is an outcome of innovation. And if you tap it with the responsible part, you are enabling that responsible innovation. And you're
Mm-hmm.
reducing real world harm. So if you look at hallucinations, you look at bias outputs, all this what you as a person coming in and tapping it real in the real world of telling organization this is not good, this is what how it has to be done. And you're building those that trust in the organization of what can be consumed as a real data versus what should be avoided. And that brings in the client satisfaction. If you're doing client satisfaction, that brings the happiness to everybody and the growth to any organization, right? And most important part is that you're working strategically. It's not all coding and behind the scene kind of thing. Here, the word which comes out of client's mouth is a strategy, and you're helping that strategy to operate to be operationalized. It's a heavy word, is a heavy word when it is to be said with the students, but if you look at the ecosystem, how it works is you have a vision, you have a goal of any organization, then you have a vision, right? Vision
Mm-hmm.
and goal, and then probably then you look at what are your short-term strategies to meet that goal. So if you have AI operationalization as a goal in next 6 months, somebody reaching out to you saying that help me out, you are becoming an enabler to operationalize that strategy as one of the key member to give that life and how that can be done. So that's the beauty, right? And if you have to look at financially, you know, you said those economic times, right? One of the most demanding and all that thing, right? So it's in demand, and the era we are looking in changes every 6 months, but it will not go. The reason is the more the AI grows, the more demand of these roles of guardrails will pop up, right? All these regulations are to tap, and if the regulations exist today in US, there is one regulation. There are 50 states. There will be 50 other regulations. We are in a globe where are 190 odd countries. Right now, already 18 to 20 countries have given their ways of working on AI, including India. So, right. So, similarly, these will keep on growing. And financially, if you are at a sweet spot where you understand this, you know what to do, you know what are the basics of getting this done, you are at a sweet spot of even on the financial terms, is what I can say.
Okay.
And I
Great.
think the part we said challenging part, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
challenging aspects. So it is more of balancing speed with the risks part, right? So risks are increasing because AI is spreading fast. So you should be thinking beyond and bringing those solution in. And that's why I said reading, that mindset of reading, converting it into more solution and bringing it to the market. So you have to outspace the some of the things which are popping up so that you are in the game, and that could be challenging for some people who may not be that actively looking at and reading things and what is going in the globe and so forth. um, another part is that keeping up with these changes sometimes becomes challenging. um, you know and on the AI part, when you are deep into it, so many things happening, drift, managing and controlling the drift of models. And sometimes, as somebody said, I'm an introvert. That could be another challenge because here you are cross functional. You would be
Mm.
talking to an owner of a data versus a product owner versus a business stakeholder versus a data person who is bringing the data versus a legal person who's supposed to, another person who could be a retractor and say that I don't need AI governance or data governance or something like that. The idea is that how would you change his mind of this is need of the hour, and it is you as a superman or a superhero who comes and change that person's mind also, that this is need of the hour and it is required for your organization. So if you have those skills, then it's easy. Otherwise, sometimes it becomes challenging.
It's a lot of mental agility is also something which is really
Exactly.
is needed. Got it. Okay.
Empathy, if you are empathetical by characteristics, and
Hmm.
you can soak in before reflecting your thoughts immediately, then probably you are at a sweet spot in taking up these challenges.
Great. So I'm sure this perspective will help the students out here because you heard about the rewards, you also heard about the challenges. So you know at least like this is what it is, how you can navigate through it, how you can prep yourself better. Moving on, I also want like any of the guest speaker who joins us to talk about a specific career. I also want the students specifically to hear from them around any kind of misconceptions or myth which are surrounding this career track, right? Which you may have encountered through your interactions with again like students or laymen or people in general. If you would want to clarify that, I would say that that's a good opportunity.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you. Um, the most important myth, which was there, I would say 3 2 3 years back, which is now going away with the AI, thanks to AI on that part, was that governance as a word is a bureaucratic kind of thing, right?
Mm.
You may not always need it. It slows down everything. If somebody is a developer doing something, you bring a governance person, it slows down the ways of working. So the mindset was different. But it has changing, and it was more limited to large organization earlier, that it is only for large organization, not small organization now needed and all that stuff, which is a myth. And it is required wherever you have a data and you are taking decision based on data, as simple as that. And also is that you have to be a lawyer or a data scientist to be in this field, because lawyers understand the sections of different regulations, and data scientists understand the ML flows and the machine learning and the AI part. That's a myth, right? If you have a technical acumen, again, I'm using the word acumen, of understanding how data is coming in, what is being done inside the model, and what is coming out, you are in a sweet spot to get into this role, because you are able to articulate and you're able to tell anybody that what is this model doing and what is the incoming and outcoming from this model perspective, and whether it is in your use or not. Second is the lawyer part, right? Lawyers are important, but again, lawyers will not take a decision which is good for business. It is you who would understand the sections, along
Mm-hmm.
why the data meet that section. For example, in Section 6 of EU AI Act, it says that data lineage or data management is must for any organization. Now, lawyer must say that this is a section, but how to operationalize for an organization is something that you come in and tell, that if you are having that joining dots of source of data versus where it is going as the end, an auditor checks you out, you are good with this section. So then you are have a truce with lawyer also, and you're telling the organization what has to be done on the ground. So again, that is a myth. So reality is, as I said, right, governance enables safe, scalable, deliverable benefits to the organization, and if you are able to articulate that to business, they will love you for what you're doing. So yeah, I would say this. So it's multidisciplinary and collaborative field. So so if you're able to articulate different stakeholders at what time, handle them, please them, and they are good with what you are putting as a thought, you are good.
Got it. Thank you so much for that, Subir. I know we are drawing closer to the hour of this session, but will it be okay if we continue for a couple of more minutes? Is that okay with you, Subir?
Absolutely.
And to the attendees as well, there are a few more questions which I'll just go through and then we will be winding up the session. And in the interim, if you have any question, except like Sangeeta's question, which is actually I'm going to cover shortly, please put it in the chat. Okay, so Subir, if you get an opportunity to really go back in time, is there anything you would do differently in your professional career journey? Or do you think, okay, whatever you did at whatever time was actually helping you build up for this career track itself? So, just a reflective question for you.
To be honest, I never thought I will be in this space. But I think now, if I look back and reflect how my journey has been, I think it was more of a checklist to prepare me for this role. Because I started up with a way when I started up my career, there was a L1 support, which was more to communicate with the clients and help them resolve their tickets. And advantage to me was that I was at a late night shift kind of thing that I was working with. But the
Mm-hmm.
advantage was talking to American clients on phone very long. That was helping me out my communication skills, telling what has to be done, how to resolve even a small ticket, how to tell them what has worked for you, what did not. So that was a tick mark there telling me, specifying the things. Then I moved into more technology oriented role where technology is must. I understand the data part, where warehouse, how it is cleaned, what it is clean, what not, quality part of the thing, and so forth. And then I got an opportunity to travel outside India, stayed there for 4 years. I
Mm-hmm.
understand what's the importance of communication and near to client, how it means to tell them what is right for them, what is not, how to make sure even a small thing, be quality, privacy, how impactful is for them, listening to them, that how it changes the decision at the larger level of the organization. So gives the importance. Thereby, I understood that consulting is my sweet spot. Even though I was
Mm-hmm.
doing technical, but consulting is my sweet spot because I can win some of the good things for my organizations. And that's where motivated me towards this consultative, techno functional oriented role. And that's why I was molding towards this data governance, which is consulting based role, and technology involved in it, and now AI governance. So I would say it was a checklist for me, and what I summarized that is must have for somebody like a BTech or somebody who's introvert. What are things that are required to get into this? So one thing that I could change is that had I knew that this was my career going to be, the I would have been stayed in closer to clients for a larger time rather than being coding at the back end, right? So as a junior person, yeah. Otherwise,
Great. Great. I think walking through your journey is definitely helpful for students here. There is one question which I said has come up from one of the students, Sangeeta, and this was in our list as well, which is like she is a grade 11 student. Okay, so and this is like a generic question, like what kind of internships would you suggest a high school student or maybe a college going student can explore to really get a better understanding of whether they are meant for this kind of career track or not? Any suggestions on that?
I would say build your data skills, data basics, and that could be your SQL, learning Python. I'm sure by 11th, every school would have taught you, but in case not, go for that. Study more like ethics, process, policy kind of how does it affect the data part. Join some clubs where you talk about privacy, data part, where they are talking to, if in case that is internship given to you, go for any data oriented project. I mean, internship is specific, which teaches everything, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
Mm-hmm.
specific on the ground. It teaches you the ecosystem of how and what you're supposed to respond to a particular query, and when to respond and when not to respond. So look for anything like which helps you develop soft skills, more like a stakeholder management. If you are in an internship where you have multiple stakeholders, how would you deal with them? If somebody is not agreeing with you, but this is for the good, and somebody has told you that it has to be done, how would you challenge that status quo and come out of it? What are your learnings from it, right? I think those are small things which will help you grow when you are into a real job.
Great. Thank you so much for that, Subi. And I want to be cognizant of the time, but definitely we got a lot of perspective from your professional journey. I wanted to bring a close to this session with like some fun questions as well. Maybe I had like quite a few, but let me just ask one or two, which is if we can know about you more in terms of any fun fact about you, which is generally not known to people in your professional life as such.
Fun, I just disclosed maybe a couple of months back in when my organization was talking about me channel, and I just disclosed that I'm little you know in I wanted to go into, or maybe I look forward for anything which comes to numbers. Maybe it's the numerology aspects of things that I'm more inclined these days. So that's
Okay.
the fun part. So I think because I'm looking at numbers and data so much that now I think this is something which is untapped. So if I can find
Okay.
unknown factors from that and something which I can find some mystery solved there. So that's the fact that I am right now interested in.
Got it. Very interesting. And any favorite quote or any good book you have come across which you would recommend to the students here?
I think I'm in the era, even I am learning. There's a book called The Storytelling Thing, the storytelling, right? And the second fact that I generally go by is the fun fact, or maybe the quote that remains is that Bhagavad Gita's quote, right? Karmanye vadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadacham, right? Which means that you have right to do what you're supposed to do,
Mm-hmm.
not to think about the outcome, right? I think it will fall in your lap one day or the second day, but that's something that I generally follow as a
Mm-hmm.
ethics and moral to my life. But yeah, storytelling part is something that I keep on reading how to articulate a word into more storytelling aspects so that it remains with the audience.
Understood. Thank you so much, Subir. I really can't thank you enough for sparing your like 1 hour on a Sunday. And I know like professionals like you are extremely busy and weekends are your time to unwind. So thank you so much for still giving time to our students out here and parents too. And to our students and parents, thank you so much for joining in, listening in. We will continue to bring such career awareness sessions, and even we host certain admission insight session. I think this is the time and age where if you listen from the people who have really walked the path, I think it will make you, or it will really help you make an informed decision, right? Which is what is a really good tool to have in your arsenal, right? So with that, I am closing the session, and I am pleased to say that almost, I think, just two folks left the session at 12:30. The entire 32 people are still here, Subir. So, of course, it was an interesting session.
Thank you. I appreciate, and hopefully this turned out to be a help for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good rest of the weekend. Bye
Have a good
bye.
All the best.